Joining us right now on the telephone is former Republican presidential candidate and a Donald Trump supporter, Dr. Ben Carson. Dr. Carson, thank you very much for calling in this morning. Your reaction to this terrorist attack in Brussels this morning?
Well, not unexpected. Obviously, we know there's going to be continued attacks. And one of the things that the Europeans have done is really had a pretty lax policy when it comes to people coming from Syria and other places where they're likely to be terrorists. And I'm sure that they're infiltrated. And you look what's going on in our country right now. We have a very, very weak border, particularly the southern border. But now we have to worry about the Canadian border as well. And they're just coming in. And I'm sure we have multiple terror cells, and we can expect the same kind of thing. We're going to have to wake up very, very quickly here. We're going to have to stop being politically correct and start protecting the American people.
Here's Meghan McCain, Dr. Carson.
Good morning, Dr. Carson. This is Meghan McCain. I just wanted to know, neither you nor Donald Trump have any military experience or background, and that has been seen by a lot of people as a weakness with Donald Trump. How important is it going to be going forward to get, respected military personnel and people with a lot of military experience on board with the Donald Trump campaign and possibly even in a VP slot if he is elected the nominee of the party?
I think what is needed much more than lots of military experience is wisdom and determination and the ability to get the appropriate advisors and to make good decisions. You know, when you look at things that are happening around the world, you know, there are a lot of people there who have military experience and they're not doing anything. It's judgment and what you do with the consultants that you have that makes a difference.
Oh, Dr. Carson, we are talking with Dr. Carson on the telephone this morning after we have been reporting deadly attacks at the Brussels airport. Dr. Carson, what do you think the U.S. needs to do right now?
Well, there are a number of things we need to do. First of all, we need to secure our borders. Stop just talking about it. We need to go ahead and do it. I think we need to reevaluate our immigration policies. One of the things that I talked about earlier is we need to go ahead and declare war on ISIS and reevaluate all of our immigration policies. I think we need to do a much better job of surveilling their internet communications and follow them where they need to go and act when we see something and not be afraid that somebody's going to call us Islamophobic. You know, those are the kinds of things that will make a real difference. We need to be talking to the imams and the clerics and getting information from them, helping them to understand that they're either with us or they're against us. There is no middle ground here.
Because we know that ISIS has, in fact, infiltrated the refugee stream. We know that they've gotten their hands on a passport-making machine, and we know that they have promised more attacks.
Of course they have. And if we don't react to that, it's our fault. I mean, that's the reason that I was saying, you know, with the Syrian immigration situation, people saying we should bring tens of thousands of them here, otherwise we're cold-hearted people. No, we have much better mechanisms for taking care of them over there and being very careful about who we bring in here. And when we do bring people in here, like, we have these exemptions for people with European passports. We don't know where they've been. We don't know what they've been doing. And if I were a terrorist, I would just get a European passport and come on over here and do what I was going to do.
Right.
We got to be smarter.
Dr. Carson, what do you make of the fact that the president this morning is in Cuba? I guess he's going to Argentina at some point as well. We have not heard from the president, although we have been told by a White House official that he has been apprised of the attacks.
Well, I think he's concerned about his legacy and really needs to be concerned about the safety of the American people. You know, I've never been for the normalization of relationships with Cuba under these circumstances. I've always said, let's wait until there's a regime change. Raul Castro's 83 or 84 years old. There's going to be a regime change. Why give away everything before that when you now would have a tremendous amount of leverage? I don't understand our foreign policy.
Right. Right, and Jerry Baker, the last time we saw a major terrorist attack, of course, when we were covering the Paris attacks, and before that, the Charlie Hebdo attacks. We heard from President Obama, and he completely missed the zeitgeist of the country, did not discuss really what was happening in terms of people's fears and the reality of the implications of those terrorist attacks.
Yeah, I mean, so often the reaction of politicians, and I'd be interested to know what Dr. Carson thinks about this, is whatever we do, we mustn't upset people. You know, we must be careful not to upset Muslims. And of course, look, again, everybody knows this. The vast majority of Muslims don't want anything to do with this kind of behavior. We know that they are peaceful people, but it cannot be denied that there is a significant minority that is unfortunately attracted to this in particular communities in Europe, but even in the United States. And Dr. Carson, I wonder what you do about that. There are radicalized Islamic jihadis here in the United States. We know they're in our midst. You know, many of them, fortunately, are being surveilled carefully. Many of them have actually been arrested. But there must be others out there. What do we do about the threat at home?
Well, first of all, you know, again, I must emphasize this. We have to stop being politically correct. You know, during the Holy Land Foundation trial in 2006, 2007 in Texas, looking at activities of the Muslim Brotherhood and others, you know, there were documents that were uncovered that demonstrated that they're trying to accomplish what they call civilization jihad, and basically to bring us down and replace us with their system. And they said one of the reasons they would be able to do that in America is because we're so politically correct that we would be trying to protect their rights while they were destroying ours. You know, we just have to understand that you cannot compromise the safety of the American people for political correctness. And, you know, I hate to be so blunt about it, but that's just the way it is. And we just have to stop being silly.
What about Donald Trump, the candidate you now support, has called for a temporary ban on Muslims entering the country. A lot of people have said, look, if you do that, you're going to increase hatred of the United States around the world. There are 1.5 billion Muslims around the world. Again, most of them don't right now want to conduct jihad. But if you do this kind of thing, if you say the United States is closed to Muslims, what signal is that going to send to these to Muslims around the world?
Well, I'm not sure that I would do it based on a person's religion. But I think there are a lot of ways to tighten up the scrutiny of people who are coming in here. And in situations where we don't have a clear indication of why they should be here, they shouldn't be here.
Right.
But you don't base that on someone's religion.
Right. Yeah. Dr. Carson, thank you so much for your insights this morning. We so appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Again, one of the few leaders out there this morning who's actually reacting and offering real insight on these devastations this morning.